you guys just saw up my nose. Good morning. I am trying something new. I am on my laptop. I was watching another YouTuber, and she had mentioned something about like photo booth, and so I'm trying it, and I'm not sure about the quality yet, so I'll let you guys know. Anyway, I'm in my living room, as you guys can see, Nashville sign. Um, I don't even know what's going on. Yesterday, it's early here. It's only 9:15 in the morning. I just started laundry. I have not done laundry since I've been back at my house. So I think it's going on 2 weeks. No, when did I come back here? 10 days? Yeah, I've been back 10 days. I have not done laundry, so I needed to do that today. Um, it's gonna be nice today. I think it's supposed to be like 55 or something here, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm gonna go for a walk later, later, like around lunchtime, because I think, well, I know, I shouldn't say I think, I already know what I'm doing today. So I'm gonna walk around. So the village that I live in is only 2 square miles. So I'm gonna walk out to the lake and then down and come into the village from what would be like the north side of the village, I guess. Yeah, yeah, northish, but it's also kind of east too because the lake is right. I don't know. It's one of those weird directions, right? Like if anybody is familiar with um, the freeway in Minnesota, 35W. Okay, so 35W actually runs north and south. And you would think because they call it 35W that it actually goes west, but it doesn't, north and south. So anyway, so I have an Amazon return, which I didn't realize that you could just like take to UPS and they like scan a code or something and they just send it for you. So I'd ordered something from Amazon, tampons, and there's supposed to be like a pack of four, and there was only a pack of one. So I was like, hey, can you just send me the other 3 packs? But that's not what they do. You have to actually like return the 1 pack and then they send you the other four. And so I have to do that today. So I'm going to take that with me in a little bag and walk to the UPS store. And then I think I'm going to stop and get something to eat at my favorite local diner because I haven't seen my favorite waitress in there. Her name is Janet in a very long time. So get some takeout from there and yeah, and then come home and eat and stuff. But um, yeah, so anyway, so I have not uploaded a lot this week. Like, I was trying to stick to the schedule that I kind of set before, but I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to. And I think that's just where I'm at right now. Like, I'm still experiencing, I guess, like what you would call, um, I don't even know what it is, right? And one of the gals, Joyful, that follows me, she said like it's just a part of like grief, and I'm paraphrasing, and she said it much more eloquently than that, but just not want I don't want to do certain things, and it's really weird, right? And I because I'm not that person, like normally, like I don't avoid things, and I don't like typically struggle with like finding motivation to do stuff or whatever. And so vlogging is one of the things that I have been finding to be very it feels overwhelming, even though it's not like it's nothing, it's just me talking, and then sometimes some people look at it like it isn't a big deal at all. So um but yeah, so that's one of the things that I have found a little bit overwhelming this week. And then putting laundry away, that is something else that I'm just like, I don't even know where to start. And I don't even own a lot of laundry. I shouldn't say that. I don't have a lot of laundry. Um, like own is not the right word. I don't own a lot of clothes. That's the right word. But I do not have a lot of laundry because I literally every day go into CrossFit, right? Oh, that wasn't a gunshot. That was the radiator, by the way, in case you heard that. Um, yeah, so I just am, yeah, I just was like, I've had this like pile of laundry it's in my hamper thing, right? That actually belongs in the laundry chute, but it's been there since I came back from being up north, and I just take clothes out of it every day and put them on, and I just am like, why am I not just putting this stuff away? Yeah, so that's my goal today is to get the laundry put away, the laundry that's currently being washed downstairs. Um, get that put away later, but I want to do the stuff that's up here now. So I just am not then dealing with two gigantic piles of laundry. Um, so that's been a little bit weird for me this week. Like, just, and it's so simple and like mundane tasks that appear to be so incredibly overwhelming. And it's just like, I'm just trying to like not like just accept that that's how I feel about it and then try to come back to it later. So like right now I really need, and I don't have a lot of dishes in the sink, thank God. It's only like 4 dishes, but I'm like, I should really unload the dishwasher and then load the dishwasher with these 4 dishes. And when I say it out loud, it seems so like silly and like mundane and ridiculous, and there's really not that much in the dishwasher either. I think maybe there's like, I don't know, I have one of those, I don't know, I think I've told you guys this. I have a small dishwasher. It's like 18 inches. It's one of those fancy Bosch ones, right? But it doesn't open up when the cycle is done. It's not that fancy. And I did not buy this dishwasher. It was purchased by the woman I purchased my condo from. And it's not meant for Americans who use big dishes. I've learned that. Like my pots and pans don't fit in they don't fit in there. Like most of them don't. Like the big, like I have this not stainless steel. I do have stainless steel. That is my thing. I do like to cook in stainless steel. But I have a non-stick pan that I got for like making eggs and stuff. And it doesn't fit in this dishwasher. It's too big, And so anyway, but there's not even that many dishes in there. But like when I say it out loud, it's like, yeah, just go unload the dishwasher. But when I'm like standing in the kitchen, I'm like, this is literally like I'm so overwhelmed at the prospect of unloading the dishwasher. And it's so weird, right? And but I'm just trying to like, you know what I mean? Just being like, this is not a big deal. Just try to unload it later. Or just I'll take out a couple things and put them away or whatever it has to be. So anyway, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. And yesterday I was finally able to get the estate account for my dad's stuff set up. We had a little snafu last week when I tried to do it. I did not realize that they require different paperwork than just my papers that I have on file with the court, right? So not just like the domiciliary letters and all this other crap that I have. Like I needed to get some different stuff, which I did. And then finally the medical examiner signed the death certificate, which is what we needed. And my mom was able to pick those up for me up north, and then she mailed them to me. And so I have all of that now. And so this was a big part, right? Getting the account set up for the estate. And so anytime that we sell anything or, have to pay a bill, everything will now come out of that account, which is nice to keep that separate from like my dad's checking and savings accounts that he has. And I got that figured out at the credit union that my dad banks at up north, or did bank at, I guess I should say he did bank at up north. That account got frozen after he passed away, and I didn't know that was the thing that happened when you died, that they freeze your bank accounts. And so there's a girl that I've been working with there. She's been super helpful, and she just said, listen, I was like, I need to be able to access this account to pay bills, like, and I need to know how much money's in there. And thankfully there's not a lot, right? But like a bunch of payments got bounced out, right, last week. Like I had paid the property taxes, I had paid, and this is right before my dad passed away. Like I had paid his property taxes for him because we don't need a lien against the house for the property taxes, right? Because we're trying to sell it, so I don't need anything weird happening with the house, but like property taxes got paid. And then I paid the insurance on the house, and then one of the vehicles, because my younger brother ended up purchasing the second vehicle, and he's going to give that to his roommate's daughter, who's 18 or whatever. And so I don't actually think she actually has a driver's license yet. I think she still has a permit, but like they were thinking she would need a car when she goes to college next year. But so he purchased that for her, and so that bounced out, and it was like, and of course everybody charges you fees when and it's not even that it's non-sufficient funds, it's that the account is frozen. And so the bank rejects the request for the payment, and it was really messy. And so I talked to the insurance company, and I have talked to them a few times. So they know what they're dealing with right now, this hot mess. you know. Um, but they, God bless them, they were just like, I actually ended up paying for the mortgage, not the mortgage insurance. It's just the homeowner's insurance. Like, it's just, he doesn't have a mortgage, right? Thank God the house is paid off. But like the mortgage insurance, and then for the car, I just paid that out of my own bank account because I said, I have no idea when I'm going to get access to this account again. And so I didn't want the house to not have insurance on it or the car not have insurance on it because the minute you let that stuff go, your house burns down and then we got nothing, right? And so I just didn't want anything like that to happen. And so they let me do that. And then, because I guess it doesn't really matter who pays it as long as they get the money. Like, I don't think they care. But then they were willing to waive the fees for me, though, because it would have been $25 for each like transaction. And so the house is one and the car is another. It's considered two, So thankfully they waived all that, got that paid. And then the girl at the county with the property taxes, I just explained what was going on and she's just like, just let us know when you're gonna, put it through again. And so I just was communicating with her. I said, okay, I'm submitting this payment again and I will notify the credit union because that's what I learned. I'm sorry, I'm taking the long way around per usual. I learned that the bank account can still be used, right? Like, I'm the only person who can use it, but I just have to call them and tell them what to expect. And so I paid the property taxes. And then that night I called and left a message for the girl I've been working with. This is the transaction number. Like, this is the amount that's coming through. It should probably be the next couple of business days. Like, please watch for that. And then I was trying to figure out also what was going to potentially be deposited into the account. And the only thing that might happen if the federal government does not have their shit together is my dad's, what would be his final Social Security payment, may come into the account because he was only in his long-term care facility for like 9 days right before he passed. And so he was still within that 21-day period where Medicare covers you. And then he was on hospice for 3 of those 9 days. So he wasn't into the whole like, oh, medical assistance is involved. It wasn't like that at that point. So I'm pretty sure, and I mean, it doesn't matter either way, but I'm pretty sure that like he should get that last payment. And if he doesn't, that's totally fine. But I don't think it has to go directly to where he was staying. I don't think, but we'll see. So I did notify her of like the amount in the day that it may potentially come in, because that's the other part. It's things being put into the account also get kind of stuck and rejected, right? So anyway, that's what I've learned this week. But we got the separate estate account set up, which is awesome. And now I just have to get home and get the house situated and get it on the market. And so we're going to do that in a couple weeks. My mom's going to help me out. We're going to spend like 3 days just going through everything, throwing stuff away, whatever. We did find a place that will take clothes, like donations, right, that are smoke damaged or whatever. And both my dad and his wife smoked. And my dad had quit for a number of years, but Claire smoked in the house. And so you can imagine there's a lot of stuff that just is kind of smoke damaged or whatever. But I was just worried that we wouldn't be able to do anything with this stuff, which is sad because there's so many people that are in need and like, and just like, but they'll take anything and they can like do some magic zhuzhing, and, get stuff kind of suitable for someone to take, which is really awesome. So we're going to start just kind of boxing that kind of stuff up and getting that donated. So I think that's really cool. And then there is a group home that my brother's friend works at, and they are interested in taking some of the furniture, and not like the couches and stuff like that, but like the dressers and like tables and stuff, like anything that's wood that can be like obviously cleaned, and then things that are less likely to have like bed bugs. Like that's a big thing, right? For group homes and stuff. And even though we know that my dad doesn't have that problem, but like they just can't take a lot of stuff. But anyway, so that's happening too. So we just got to get, and then like just to get the windows in the house open and get some fresh air in there and just wipe things down and kind of go through some stuff. And then we'll have to have an estate sale at some point. Just anything of value. And there's not a ton in there, but my dad's wife did have like antique thingies. And so I might have to have someone come in and help me with that, like figure out like how much is this worth. Um, but yeah, so that's my bullshit life right now. I did 21.2 last night, and for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, I will go ahead and post that right here. Um, it was pretty gross. It was pretty gross. Yeah, 35-pound dumbbells are heavy. Like when you have to put them over your head repeatedly. And I did get time capped in this WOD, which is totally fine. It was a 20-minute time cap to get through all of the reps, but um I could have easily like scaled this thing way down. And I didn't. Like I made it hard, and I, am pretty happy with how it turned out. So there's that. There's one more workout in the CrossFit Open this year. It's only 3 weeks. Normally it's 5 weeks. This year they cut it back to 3 weeks. And then after that it starts to get into more of the like regional competitions again. And then the top 50 people on men and women then will go to the CrossFit Games in this summer. They're at the end of July. They are in Madison, Wisconsin, and then I just bought my ticket. And so I'm gonna go, and hopefully they're able to have it. It sounds like, we should be in a really good place in terms of COVID. We're actually in a really good place right now. Our positivity rate here is only about 2%, and it's been that way for a number of months. Like since January, I think we've been in the twos. And so, and they're also doing right now, which I think is very interesting, and I'll talk about CrossFit first and then we'll go back to that. But, so got my ticket, pretty stoked, really excited. Most of it is outside, which is fun. They have an outdoor area, where they hold the games at the Alliant Energy Center, that they have built specifically for CrossFit. Like, I mean, it's so fun, and it's great. And I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully I run into people that I know, and, maybe some of my new friends from my new CrossFit box will go too, and we can all kind of go together. So that'll be cool. And then I did end up getting a hotel room. Madison is not far from where I live, but it's a bit of a haul when you're coming back, like at night, after the last events, which are typically get over at like 10 o'clock at night. It can be pretty late. So Kitty and I are going to go, and we're going to treat ourselves to a hotel room for the week, while we, participate and watch. And, basically I pay money to watch people work out for fun. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's about my life in a nutshell. So, anyway, back to COVID. So one of the things that's happening right now, so Wisconsin is doing pretty good with our vaccine distribution. They've started to continue to open it up to more and more and more people, which is fine. Obviously, I'm not one of those people, but I'm totally fine with that because I don't leave my house, except now to just go to CrossFit once a day, starting on Monday. Pretty excited. I registered for all my classes yesterday, except for Friday. I was too early. You can only register a week in advance, so I'll have to do that to get my Friday class set up. But we're doing pretty good. Could it be faster? I think so. I think a lot of people wish it was faster. Do I agree with everything that has happened here with it? No. I think that they had time to plan for a lot of stuff, and that just didn't seem like they planned for it, but that's fine. However, one of the things I found very interesting is that they're starting to do what they call data corrections on all of our numbers. And the reporting is slowly being updated, and they're kind of backdating some things, and they're moving people in and out of different categories that maybe had an infection, maybe didn't. And this all coincides with a number of FOIA requests that were made by people who live here to see whether or not our governor is lying about the number of people who passed away, and also maybe potentially lying about the number of people who had COVID that were in long-term care facilities or group homes. And so obviously that is a very hot topic right now, especially with the stuff going on in New York. The Michigan governor now is also under scrutiny as well. And so these data corrections that they're doing are, I feel personally, it's a little conspiratorial, that they didn't start thinking about maybe we should stop bullshitting some of these numbers and actually report accurate data as these requests, requests for information started to come in. So our numbers are kind of all over the place. And then I also learned that the deaths that they are reporting happened 3+ weeks ago. So, for example, we've been very low in our number of deaths. And let me tell you this, one is too many. We all agree that one is too many. But all of a sudden, we'll see like over the 7 days, like there's, the positivity rate still continues to come down. But all of a sudden, then we'll have like 200 people that have died, right? That it's listing, it says plus 200. That's not from this last 7 days. That actually is from potentially 3+ weeks ago, right? Or in some cases, I found out it's actually from December, And so I'm just like this is why people are acting crazy with this and with the masks and with the vaccines and or the shots. It's not even a vaccine; it's a shot. It's not an inoculation because you could still get it, right? It's just like a flu shot. Like, this is why people are losing their minds. This is why they're losing their minds. It's because you're admitting to us that the numbers that you're showing us are from potentially 3 months ago, but you're like, the way it's being presented, it's to and this is going to sound conspiratorial, to scare people into thinking that it's still as relevant as it ever has been. I'm not saying COVID's not relevant, but you know where I'm going with that? Making it look worse than it really is. And so there are people that are now dissecting through all those numbers and pulling all the research and pulling all the actual because a lot of this stuff is public information, right? And so so I found it very interesting. And there's a guy that I follow on Twitter that does the calculations, and he shows all the data he uses, and he's these people did not die this week. This is from January. And they're moving people in between buckets. They moved the number of deaths out of the other category because they were doing a lot of this other, well, really the other, we found out, was the long-term care facilities. They have a long-term care, but then they have this other, and then they were taking numbers, right, that were in those, LTCs, right, and they were moving them into this other bucket to make it appear less impactful, right, in that particular scenario. And so it's just kind of weird. And I get it, don't get me wrong. I get it, and I think a lot of times a lot of this isn't done necessarily to be misleading, but it's done because they're just in a hurry, right? But again, when you're reporting deaths from 3 months ago and all of a sudden, people are like, oh, well, we had 1,000 people die, or we had, 10,000 positive cases, when it's just a data dump, from months ago. It just sort of continues to perpetuate this oh, well, we still have this long haul ahead of us, and I think that there's still a haul ahead of us. I just don't think that it's based on the numbers, it's not as long as people think it is. But when you continue to put out numbers that are, I would say inaccurate, when you do that, it makes people feel weird, so just don't do that. Don't be a dick. Anyway, so that's enough about my COVID rant. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And then, yeah, it's just been a long couple of weeks. Yeah, you guys know that. I'm really excited to get back to CrossFit. I'm also a little bit nervous, just because I meet new people. And I'm an extrovert, but what if I don't like them? I guess then I just go train somewhere else, or maybe a different class time too, because there's different personalities, different class times. So, other than that, Kitty's doing really good. I had to call the doctor's office today, and I left a message. He had, I think you guys knew this, that my cat had adenocarcinoma, which is a nasal cancer, and I spent a shit ton of money last summer having him treated. And he's been doing really, really good. But I noticed in November he had a period of time where he was sneezing super aggressively, and then his nose would bleed, right, because he was sneezing so hard. And so that kind of started to happen again, and it's during the change of the seasons, as we were kind of going into winter, and now that we're going into spring, it's happening again. So I did leave a message to get him some medication. He did really well with this like steroidy thing or whatever that they give for this. And so I just asked for them to call me on Monday and we can hook him up with that. And they can compound it as a liquid for him, which he does much better with. And it's easier for me to give it to him versus a pill. Yeah, it's really hard to give cats pills. Trust me. They're not like dogs. They don't fall for it. You can't like wrap it in cheese. Like you have to literally like hold your cat down, put it in a headlock and stick the pill in his mouth and then close his mouth and then rub on his neck to make him swallow it and blow on his nose to make him swallow it and stuff. And it's really hard. And like medication for cats is expensive. Medication for people is expensive, you know, and you don't want to waste anything. So we're going to do that. And then I'm also going to get my forehead Botox because I have not done that in a very long time since the pandemic actually started. So I'm pretty stoked about that too. It's vanity. I totally get it. But you see this right here? That's why I do it. Because then I have lines in the middle. Yeah, so it's like twice a year. I can usually do it. Sometimes it's 3 times a year. It just depends on how quickly your body metabolizes the Botox. And it's poison. I get that, you know, and but I enjoy it. And I am a big fan of if you don't like something, like they're, you know, about yourself, like you could have it fixed if you wanted to. Like, you know, I have friends who have nose jobs and have their boobs done and, you know, and stuff like that. And a friend of mine, she had lost quite a bit of weight and she had finally, after like 10 years, she had a lower upper and lower body lift. You know, and it just, you know, just to like get rid of her, like, you know, like sagginess, you know, her in her legs or in her, you know, abdomen and stuff. And she, her recovery, I think was much harder than she thought it would be, but, you know, she's super happy with the results and stuff. She ended up getting a lot of excess fluid, when they did it, you know, and some people that just happens, right? They, you know, with swelling and stuff. And some people don't have that. And so, but she just had to kind of work through that. But yeah, she's super happy with that result. And then one of the reasons why I would, don't get me wrong, I would love to have like, you know, I would love to have like what they call like, it's like a lift or a tuck, right? But I am not willing to not train for that long. So there you go. Like all my, you know, like the girl who does like my Brazilians, she was like, you know, like you have such a, you know, a cute body, like wouldn't it be awesome? And I was like, oh, trust me, like I wish, right, that I could do it with not having the recovery time. I would do it in a second, and it costs a lot of money, so there's that aspect of it too, right? You know, um but yeah, and I've thought about it. And then when I talked to my friend who had her lift done, she was out of the gym for 4 months. Now I realized that her experience was probably slightly different than some people's experiences, but yeah, I just like, would it be fantastic? Sure. You know, and the thing is, I think that this is a good point, right? If anyone's considering, you know, any sort of cosmetic procedure, especially body work versus like face work, um, when you get a lift done, like with my friend, and this is pretty standard, her size did not change, right? You know what I mean? Like her body was the same and they were just kind of like tightening everything up and pulling things up for her, but like she still wears the same size clothes. So just, if you're ever going to do it, just make sure that you have very realistic expectations. You see a reputable person that's not telling you like, oh yeah, like I'm going to have all this liposuction done and I'm going to look great and I'm going to do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like just make sure that you understand what you're getting into before you do it. Because then you'll be disappointed. You'll be disappointed. Yeah. So anyway, like, yeah, would it be amazing to, yeah, absolutely. Like it would be fantastic. However, again, I'm not willing to just not train for that long. Like whether it's 2 months, whether it's, you know, 3 months, whatever it is, I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not willing to give that up, you know, at this point in my life. Now, if I was maybe a little bit older, maybe I would be, but I just don't see that. And then why do it when you're 60? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, you know. So anyway, yeah, so there's that. And then that kind of leads me into this topic too, which I will say for another day. It's around Chantel's announcement of being referred for weight loss surgery. I know multiple people who have had it done. Some people have had tremendous success with it. I've had 2 family members have it done. My brother's ex-wife is one of them, and then my uncle. And his wife, so three people in my family have all had it done with varying degrees of success. And without like, I'm not ripping on anybody, but I also know people who have had this done that had what they out ate the surgery, right? And that is a very real thing, and it is very possible to do it. And one person in particular, I think maybe lost initially like 50 pounds, and then that pretty, yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit more, maybe 80 pounds, and then ended up gaining most of that back, right? Within a very short amount of time. Like it was like within 2 years, And also too with weight loss surgery, like you're only going to lose, in theory, 50% of your excess body weight, right? That's about average for most people, I think. And within 10 years, you are likely to have put on, if you're not very diligent, a significant amount of weight because your body gets used to it, right? You know what I mean? The body adapts and stuff. So you have to be super careful with that. And so that's another thing too, if anyone is considering it. I'm certainly not an expert. I only have anecdotal evidence from, family members and people that I know that have had it done. Is that before you do it, please make sure you have realistic expectations about what's going to happen, how much weight you're actually going to lose, what the protocols are for it, how like strict do you think you can be, before you go there. And there is a girl that is in the CrossFit community that had it done. And after she had it done, she started doing CrossFit. And so she said that if she would have known about CrossFit, she never would have had that surgery. She felt she didn't need it because she found this supportive community and whatever. And that's like, every time I see our girls, I just am like, just go to CrossFit, And I know it's not that simple for everyone. And I'm not trying to I'm not joking and I'm not making fun of anybody, but it's one of those things where where we have seen people that have come into the type of style of training that I do, obviously. And there are many other kinds of training that are very successful for people, spin classes and bar class and yoga and just working with a personal trainer. And that's how I lost 120 pounds with personal training, right? It wasn't, and that was obviously before I knew what CrossFit was. And I didn't know I was doing CrossFit at the time. I just knew that my trainer would beat the shit out of me and I liked it. That's all I knew. I didn't know that it was actually a thing. And so, but again, if you're considering that, and if you, before you do it, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're thinking about weight loss surgery, before you do it, go to CrossFit and see what you get from it, right? Or go get a trainer or go, just to see, because and I understand that there are some situations that it's more about saving your life than it is about more time, of trying other things, but, so if you're in that place, obviously don't delay it. But if you're not though, and you're like, oh yeah, maybe in 2 years, I'll have this, lap band, or I'll have a sleeve or a gastric bypass, whatever, go to CrossFit, find a good box, go do a 6-week challenge. Some classes have 12-week challenges, go do it and commit to the process and commit to cleaning up your diet and just see what happens, and you might be surprised. And that's where I was, full disclosure. When I was at my heaviest, I went to a meeting to learn about gastric bypass because I felt so hopeless and I felt so defeated. And I was like, I don't understand why I can't lose weight. This is just, whatever. And I remember sitting in that room looking at these people, and I was, first of all, the youngest person there. I was probably in my 20s, early 20s at the time. And I was also the smallest person there. And I was huge. I was 300 pounds. I just was but I felt so out of place. And the stories people were telling about their uncontrolled diabetes and, all these things that have been happening to them, and just in women in their 40s that were in wheelchairs, and just, and you feel so bad for them, and that they're just trapped in their body and this is their way out, right? And so I see the benefit and I see it, but it was just I knew sitting in that meeting, I was this isn't for me, because I'm not I wasn't like these, I was still mobile. I was still, like doing a lot of walking and, just for exercise or biking for exercise, things like that. And I just was like, I think there's a better solution. And, I got into my 20s and there was a better solution for me. And then I started training, in my later 20s, right? And that's what it was. It was just finding someone in the gym that I connected with and someone who would help me, you know, with my diet and who and thing about accountability, right? So when you have a trainer or you have a CrossFit coach or whatever, like if you tell them your goals are weight loss, like they're gonna hold you accountable to that. Like they're gonna be like, okay, like how come, like what's going on? Like you're not seeing this progress, like, and you cannot out train a bad diet, right? And so yeah, so that's what worked for me, and I know that that doesn't work for everyone, and it's some people just aren't interested in training and whatever, and that's fine. But yeah, but that's just my little story. This is 35 minutes long. This is why I'm never going to be a famous YouTuber. I talk too much. Although Pulpy Syntax will have live streams for like 6 hours, so and he is a pretty famous YouTuber right now. I'm just saying. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a fantastic Saturday. I am going to clean up the kitchen. Actually feeling pretty good, and I feel like I can actually unload the dishwasher right now. So I think I'm going to get a snack. I ate breakfast a couple hours ago. I'm going to finish my coffee, have a little snack, get the laundry changed over, put some laundry away. See, when I start doing that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so much to do. And it's not really, but I'm just going to go get the dishwasher unloaded. And that may be as far as I get today with the kitchen. So, I'll keep you guys posted. And then hopefully now I'm starting CrossFit next week. I'm going to have some more to talk about. Um, yeah, so I will see you guys again next week. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Have a good day. I love you. All right, goodbye.